Good morning, everyone. Today, the presentation will be focused on key elements of energy performance contracts, making them successful, at least in our experience. In order to better explore those elements, I think we need to make a step back, recalling the definition of an EPC, the main phases of an EPC process, and related relevant considerations. First, the basic principle of EPC contract is that the investments needed for improving the energy efficiency of identified buildings are paid back over time thanks to the energy savings achieved. Secondly, crucial ingredients of an EPC are the presence of an energy saving company, an ESCO, who implements the energy efficiency measures, and this way the return of investments is paid back from energy saving and related cost savings. The contract is designed in a way that the yearly fee payment is strictly connected with the demonstrated energy performance achieved. And finally, and very relevant, is that a method over measured and verified savings between the two parties is agreed. Third, let me also quickly remind the main benefits an energy performance contract can bring to an organization and a public body especially. First of all, for sure, an improved energy efficiency of buildings and their related systems over the time. As a primary consequence of that, a significant reduction of greenhouse gas occurs. There is an evident improved comfort for building users. And last but not least, more time, more room, more resources are left for the public authority to focus on further relevant public issues. Finally, before going into details of experienced factors enabling EPC schemes to be successful, let me quickly share further top 5 considerations in order to clear up that EPC contracts are often, but not always, the right answer and tool to a specific problem. First of all, indeed, the EPC must be feasible and viable, meaning especially that the energy savings must be quite enough to recover the capital investments over a set period of time. Second, the capital is normally provided by the ESCO or by a third party, thus making available the normally limited public funds for other public policies or initiatives. There is one or more element of risk, and this is typically borne by the ESCO, thus making the EPC contracts particularly interesting for the public bodies. Value of savings is normally allocated among the different parties engaged. And finally, but very important, a correct energy baseline over consumption is really of paramount importance in order to link the risks to the savings. In short, and according to such considerations, EPC can be defined as a business model for achieving energy savings, where savings are actually invested for energy efficiency and for CO2 reduction, CO2 emissions reductions. Let me share now the main phases of an EPC process. There is a preliminary audit studied, followed by a detailed analysis and feasibility studies, especially in order to estimate the needed investment to actually implement the energy saving measures. And after that phase, normally the contract is signed, and then the implementation of energy efficiency measures starts and occurs. The last but not least important phase is the one related to the yearly measurement and verification of achieved savings. Today, we cannot deep dive in each of the mentioned phase, but specific further videos and training sessions on that and those important phases will be organized and carried out by further colleagues within the Stepping Plus project, or even outside the Stepping Plus project. So stay tuned, and be sure we will try to tackle and to deep dive into those relevant and quite delicate phases, such the one on measurement and verification procedures. Now I will try to tackle and share some aspects that, according to our experience, I want to stress this sentence once more. It is in line with what we experienced over the last 15 years on EPC schemes, but this is what we deem highly relevant for an EPC to be successful. And I hope that during the question and answer session that we will have in the end of October, further elements by further partners will be added. First, once a public body makes the decision to enter an EPC process, what are the building selection criteria to be adopted? We made a list of that, and we think that perfect candidate, meaning for candidate the building or the pool of building, is the one having a current high energy consumption and related costs, with also good energy savings opportunities available. The perfect candidate is also the one with obsolete energy systems and plants, the one with relevant energy use patterns over the time, the one with a relatively constant building use and occupancy. Crucial is the availability of historical consumption data. This is quite a bottleneck, at least at the Italian level, because often historical data on consumptions are really tough to be reached and achieved. We also need, for sure, a clear political willingness to improve the energy efficiency of a pool of buildings, because if there is not political motivation, then the road to an EPC schemes to be successful will be more and more difficult. And we also found that including a larger building with complex building system within an EPC contract could also help the EPC to be more successful. On the opposite, there are some excluding factors for an EPC in terms, again, of buildings, because, for example, buildings with historical or architectural or cultural heritage restriction, in those cases, no relevant intervention can be taken, and those buildings are therefore excluded normally from an EPC scheme. Another relevant topic making an EPC successful in our experience is that the building retrofit proposal must be actually appealing to the market. And therefore, bundling of projects could help authorities to provide a safer and more attractive investment package, because otherwise often the risk is that those EPC calls get not offered at all. And in these cases, that's why we called it the stepping approach. the bundled sample of building must be interested for the ESCO in terms of amount of investments and returns. And this concretely means, and this is what we have done throughout the former STAPIC project, the volume of building to be refurbished and the related investment amount really make the difference. So that's why we adopted the approach of aggregating municipalities and their related buildings to be retrofitted. This is also often turns to be a win-win strategy because it brings benefits also to municipalities, meaning that often a greater number of energy efficiency measures is implemented within a single procurement and contract. A further important enabling factor in a smooth EPC process is the engagement of a so-called EPC facilitator. Normally, this position is covered by energy agencies or by experienced higher level public bodies, such as, at least in the Italian context, regions, such as our lead partner, who act as mediators between the public bodies and the ESCO. Their role is essential because they ensure good knowledge either in terms of administrative procurement and contracting procedures or in terms of market needs. In a sound EPC development process, all the concerned actors are involved since the very beginning. The purpose of this participative approach is twofold. On the one hand, to get significant suggestions from the market and from the financial institutions on how to build proposals also in line with their expectation. On the other, the goal is to, again, avoid, without the relevant perspective, to get in the end no answer from the market to the call for tenders for the EPC contract. The last but not least tip is that within an EPC process, in the offer, normally the company guarantees the energy saving percentage, declares the amount of investment it can cover, indicates what percentage of financial saving will acknowledge to the public authority, and set the contract duration. The guarantee is normally expressed through formulas foreseeing a payment to the public authority in case consumption are higher than the amount set in the call. In case of energy saving, on the opposite, higher than the guarantee ones, a percentage of this is kept by the public authority according to a sharing savings model. That's why a measurement and verification process on a yearly basis is extremely important and is at the core of an EPC scheme in order to monitor and actual check the real consumption. And this should be therefore put in place, and we will get special care to this topic, to the issue, through another video and training session, which will be dedicated just to measurement and verification procedures. In conclusion, and in very short, because my time is finished, and wrapping up this presentation, EPC can be a good solution for deep renovation of public building, but they require for sure motivation and some efforts over the years by the engaged public authorities. And it is also important to remind that there is no standard model, standard EPC model, but a case-by-case approach must be followed. and we experience the bundling approach within the former stepping project with rather experience really successful. So we suggest to follow that approach if your context is really in line with such approach and is mature for such approach. Secondly, technical assistance and engagement of experienced EPC facilitators for public authorities are crucial elements, especially in a situation and within a context and markets where the markets itself and the public authorities are not yet fully ready for such experience. Third point is that, and suggestion is to try to involve the market actors as soon as possible in order to guarantee a smooth EPC process. Fourth, blending funds can be really relevant in supporting and integrated ESCO's investments, especially where there are underdeveloped ESCO's market. Fifth, measurement and verification procedures are key for monitoring actual energy savings, but especially in the MED area are not yet properly implemented. So we should work more on this relevant phase of the process. And last but not least, again, especially in relation to public authorities, the focus and the motivation to engage in an EPC process should be not only on financial benefits triggered by EPC schemes, but also on, for example, carbon emissions reduction policies, on energy transition process in the concerned territories, or for some context, I'm thinking about the French context, for example, EPC should be also seen as initiatives supporting the creation of new jobs and the involvement of local SMEs. That's all for now by my side. See you on the 26th of October for the question and answer session. Thanks for your attention and see you again.